My name is Alex Sterling, and I am 32 years old. For most of my life, I have communicated more fluently with the silent language of metal and machinery than with my own family. I understand the subtle tells of stressed steel, the quiet sigh of a perfectly tuned engine. Last Saturday, at a glittering gala held at the Oakwood Country Club, an event designed to be the salvation of my sister's failing brand, the quiet mechanic in the corner finally spoke up, not with words, but with an act of such seismic force it fractured the very foundation of our family's world. The ballroom was a symphony of clinking champagne flutes and forced laughter. It was a fundraiser for Celeste, my sister Charlotte's luxury lifestyle brand. At 35, Charlotte was the family's designated star, a woman who mistook expensive taste for business acumen. The party was a desperate, last-ditch effort to woo a legendary investor. My father, a man who measured worth in stock prices and social standing, moved through the room with a practiced, predatory grace. My mother, a woman whose love was a commodity traded for public achievement, was a vision of anxious perfection. And at the center of it all, radiating a confidence she had not earned, was Charlotte. She was selling a dream of effortless elegance, completely oblivious to the fact that her company was weeks away from insolvency. After an hour of air, kisses and empty compliments, my father took the stage. "Friends, patrons of excellence," he began, his voice echoing with the false gravitas he reserved for boardrooms. "Tonight, we are here to support a vision. My daughter Charlotte has created more than a brand in Celeste, she has created a benchmark for modern luxury." He smiled, a perfectly polished performance. But vision requires fuel. It requires sacrifice. His eyes scanned the crowd and found me. I was standing near the service entrance, a ghost in a rented tuxedo, my hands instinctively tucked in my pockets to hide the grease permanently etched into the lines of my palms. My mother, as if on cue, appeared at my side. She placed a hand on my arm, her touch as light and cold as ice. "And Alex," she announced, her voice carrying a note of rehearsed nobility. "Our grounded, practical Alex. He understands that family is a team, and sometimes one player must make a sacrifice for the good of the captain." The conversations around us died down. 100 pairs of eyes turned to me, the family's strange, mechanical footnote. Charlotte glided over, her couture gown shimmering. She looked at me not as a brother, but as a resource to be liquidated. "Alex, my dear, sweet brother," she said, her voice a silken weapon. "We all know how much you love that dusty old garage. It's been a wonderful hobby for you, but it's time to let it go." My father's voice boomed from the stage, leaving no room for interpretation. "Charlotte has an opportunity to partner with the legendary design house, Blackwood. But she needs to prove Celeste is financially sound. Alex, your garage. The property, the tools, all those old cars you tinker with. You will sell it, immediately. The proceeds will provide the capital injection Celeste needs. It is the most meaningful thing you will ever do for this family." The ultimatum was a public execution. My garage wasn't just a building, it was my grandfather's legacy. It was my sanctuary. It was the birthplace of a business they knew nothing about. The old cars were masterpieces of automotive art I had poured my soul into. "Sell your junk garage, Alex." My father's voice was a low, menacing command, a threat wrapped in the language of familial duty. "Or you are no longer a Sterling. We will remove you from the family trust, from our lives. You will be on your own." The world went quiet. In my mind I could hear the throaty rumble of a Ford 27-side Oiler engine, a sound more honest and real than any word ever spoken in my family's home. I saw the desperate ambition in Charlotte's eyes, the cold, ruthless calculation in my parents' faces. They expected me to bow my head. They expected the grease monkey to know his place and perform his function. But they had made a critical miscalculation. They thought they were talking to the quiet boy who fixed their lawnmower. I took a slow, deliberate breath, the scent of expensive perfume and desperation filling the air. I looked past them, my gaze sweeping over the wealthy, powerful people they were trying so hard to impress. And I smiled. A small, calm smile that held the glint of polished chrome and the heat of a roaring engine. It was a smile that baffled them. They thought they were revving their engine for a victory lap. They had no idea I was about to leave them in the dust. "If you were in my position, what would you do? Would you sacrifice your life's work for a family that sees you as a spare part? Or would you finally show them what you've been building in the garage all these years? I'd be honored to read your thoughts in the comments. To understand that smile, you must understand the garage it was forged in. In the Sterling family, Charlotte was the showroom model, and I was the engine block. Essential, powerful, but hidden under the hood. She was the polished exterior, I was the greasy, complicated truth of how things actually work. This was our dynamic from birth. When Charlotte turned 16, my parents leased her a brand new Mercedes convertible. When I turned 16, I asked for a set of professional-grade wrenches. My father told me to get a job at the local auto parts store and buy them myself. Her passion for fashion was an investment in her future brand. My passion for mechanics was a dirty hobby that would lead nowhere. My love for cars was a gift from my grandfather. He wasn't a wealthy man, but he was a master craftsman. His garage was a cathedral of tools and machinery. He taught me how to listen to an engine, how to feel the language of the road through the steering wheel. He believed that restoring a classic car was an act of preserving history, of honoring the soul of the machine. While Charlotte was at debutante balls, I was with him, learning how to weld, how to rebuild a carburetor, how to bring a dead thing back to glorious, roaring life. When he passed, he left me the garage and everything in it, including a rusted-out shell of a 1967 Shelby GT500. To my parents, it was a worthless piece of property filled with junk. To me, it was the most valuable inheritance in the world. The moment that defined my path, the wound that fueled my secret ambition, came when I was 20. I had spent 2 years, every spare moment and every dollar I had, bringing that Shelby back from the grave. It was my masterpiece. I had been accepted to display it at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, the most prestigious car show in the world. It was a life-changing opportunity. I just needed to rent a professional, enclosed trailer to transport it safely from our home in the Midwest to California. That same month, Charlotte, who had just graduated with an art history degree, announced she needed to spend the summer in Paris to absorb the culture for her future brand. The cost was exorbitant. My parents liquidated a stock portfolio to fund her trip. When I asked for the $1,000 for the trailer rental, my father looked at me as if I were speaking a foreign language. "Alex, be reasonable," he said, his tone dismissive. "We are funding your sister's cultural education, an essential step in her career. We can't spare $1,000 for you to drag that old car across the country." "But this is my career," I pleaded, my voice cracking. "This is a chance to be recognized by the best in the world." "Your career?" Charlotte, overhearing from the doorway, let out a tinkling, cruel laugh. "Your career is changing oil, Alex. My career is building an empire. Let's not confuse the two." They didn't just deny me the money. They denied the legitimacy of my entire world. That weekend, I had to withdraw from the show. I sat in the driver's seat of the Shelby, the engine silent, and felt a cold, hard resolve settle in my soul. I would never again be in a position where their approval or their money was a gatekeeper to my dreams. I would build my own road, pave it myself, and drive on it so fast they would never be able to catch up. The best revenge, I decided, wouldn't be a shouting match. It would be the deafening roar of my own success. That resolve became my blueprint. I got a degree in mechanical engineering, working nights at a garage to pay for it. To my family, I was the unambitious son who settled for a blue-collar life, a gentle failure who confirmed their belief in Charlotte's superiority. They were relieved, in a way. It made the family narrative simpler. But my grandfather's garage was my real work. At night, I wasn't just Alex Sterling, the local mechanic. I was the alchemist, a name whispered in the most exclusive circles of car collectors. It began with the Shelby. After missing the show, I poured my frustration and passion into making it perfect. I posted a few photos of the finished engine bay on a niche online forum. A week later, I got an email from a username I didn't recognize. It was a famous tech billionaire, a notorious car fanatic. He had seen the photos. He wanted to know if I took commissions. He sent me a rare, dilapidated 1950s Ferrari. I didn't just restore it, I re-engineered it, maintaining its classic soul while giving it the performance of a modern supercar. He was ecstatic, and he told his friends. My client list became a secret roster of the world's most powerful and discerning people. They didn't care that I was a kid in a dusty garage in the Midwest. They cared that I could do what no one else could. I became a ghost, a legend. All communication was done through a secure, encrypted service. All payments were made to a holding company I had established in Delaware. I lived a life of extreme contrasts. To my family, I was the son who always had grease under his fingernails, who they had to remind to show up for family dinners. They didn't know that the reason I was tired was because I had been up for 48 hours straight, fabricating a custom part for a sheik's Bugatti. They didn't know the scrap metal I bought was a rare, numbers, matching engine block for a Le Mans winning race car. Their complete lack of interest in the details of my life was the perfect shield. While Charlotte was burning through their money, launching and shuttering one ill-conceived luxury product after another, I was building a financial fortress. I bought the properties surrounding my garage, creating a state-of-the-art secret facility behind the unassuming brick facade of my grandfather's original workshop. I had a small, elite team of the best mechanics and artisans in the country, all sworn to secrecy. This brings us to the fundraiser at the country club. Celeste was bleeding money. Charlotte, in her desperation, had fixated on a single, impossible goal: a collaboration with Blackwood, the most revered and reclusive luxury design house in the world. The founder, Alistair Blackwood, was a legend, a man who never licensed his name. But Charlotte had heard a rumor that he was looking to expand into the automotive space. She convinced our parents that if she could just get his attention, a partnership would save them all. The fundraiser was a thinly veiled attempt to do just that, as Blackwood was known to be a member of the club. After my father's public ultimatum, after I had smiled my secret smile, I simply faded back into the crowd. I watched as Charlotte worked a room, her desperation thinly veiled by a veneer of charm. An hour later, a quiet murmur went through the ballroom. A side door opened, and an older, impeccably dressed man with an aura of quiet authority walked in. Alistair Blackwood. My parents and Charlotte descended on him like hawks. They launched into their pitch, their voices a desperate chorus of flattery and buzzwords. Mr. Blackwood listened with a polite, unreadable expression. After a few minutes, he gently raised a hand, silencing them. "Your brand is commendable," he said, his voice a quiet, cultured baritone. "But I'm afraid my interests lie elsewhere tonight. I'm actually here to meet someone." His eyes scanned the room, passing over the hopeful, preening faces. They passed over Charlotte, over my parents. And they settled on me, standing by the service door. A warm, genuine smile spread across his face. He walked directly towards me, parting the sea of stunned guests. He bypassed my family as if they were invisible. He reached me, extended his hand and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Alchemist, it is a true honor to finally meet you in person." I shook his hand. "Mr. Blackwood," I said, "it's a pleasure." "I trust the drive up in the DB5 was acceptable." "Acceptable," he chuckled. "My boy, it was a religious experience. The way you balance those carburetors is sheer poetry." The silence in the ballroom was absolute. You could have heard a pin drop on the plush carpet. I saw my father's jaw slacken. I saw my mother's hand go to her throat. I saw Charlotte's face, a mask of utter, horrified disbelief. "Alchemist," she whispered, the name a foreign sound. I turned to face my family, Mr. Blackwood at my side. "That's the name I work under," I explained calmly. "I'm the man who restores Mr. Blackwood's car collection, along with the collections of about half the people in this room you were hoping to impress tonight." I let the weight of that sink in. I watched them connect the dots. The quiet son, the greasy hobby, the impossible success. "But, the garage?" my father stammered. "It's just a small—" "The garage is where I meet clients," I said, cutting him off. "The actual work is done in the 50,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility I built behind it. The one I paid for in cash." At the final devastating piece of the puzzle fell into place. Their world, built on a foundation of image and illusion, was crumbling. "And I have one more piece of news," I said, turning to Mr. Blackwood. "As we discussed, the deal is finalized." Mr. Blackwood nodded. "Indeed. As of this morning, my company, Blackwood Design, has been acquired by a new parent company." I looked at my sister. Her face was a canvas of dawning terror. "I'm that parent company," I said. "I have acquired a controlling interest in Blackwood. And my first order of business, I'm afraid, is to terminate any and all discussions of a partnership with fledgling, financially unstable brands. Brands like Celeste." I didn't just outbid her for her dream. I had bought her dream, and I was shutting it down. I had not only revealed my success, I had used it to become the very gatekeeper they had always been to me. I now owned the name she worshipped, the legacy she craved. The power dynamic had not just shifted, it had been completely and irrevocably rewritten. I walked away, leaving them in the wreckage of their own making, the sound of their shattered world far louder than any engine I had ever built. The aftermath was a quiet, karmic dismantling of a life built on false pretenses. The story of the gala spread like wildfire through the elite circles my family had tried so hard to conquer. Charlotte's brand, Celeste without the prospect of the Blackwood deal, and now publicly revealed as a financial disaster, collapsed within a month. She was forced to declare personal bankruptcy. The socialite who had graced the pages of lifestyle magazines was now a cautionary tale. Stripped of the family money and the brand that gave her an identity, she was lost. The last I heard, she was working as a personal shopper at a high-end department store. A ghost haunting the world she once aspired to rule. My parents faced a quieter, but more profound, humiliation. The bank called in their loans. They had to sell their large, modern house and most of its contents. Their social life vanished. They had bet everything on the golden child, and the bet had gone bust. I did not let them become destitute. I bought a small, comfortable house in a quiet neighborhood and gave them the deed. I set up a trust to cover their living expenses. It was an act of finality, a closing of the account. I did not visit. I did not call. Their attempts to reach me, filled with a newfound respect that was transparently self-serving, went unanswered. Their punishment was not poverty. It was the quiet, agonizing knowledge that they had backed the wrong horse for 35 years. My life, in contrast, accelerated. The acquisition of Blackwood was just the beginning. I merged my technical artistry with their legendary design, creating a new division, Blackwood Bespoke Automotive. We didn't just restore cars, we created unique, handcrafted automotive masterpieces for the most discerning clients in the world. I also started the Sterling Foundation, an organization dedicated to funding scholarships and apprenticeships for young people in the skilled trades. Mechanics, welders, fabricators, the very crafts my family had dismissed as beneath them. My grandfather's garage was no longer my secret sanctuary. It became the heart of the foundation, a place of learning and opportunity. I had found my true family, not in blood, but in shared passion and mutual respect. In my team of artisans, in my clients who became friends, and in the young apprentices whose eyes lit up when they heard a perfectly tuned engine for the first time. Sometimes, late at night, I'll take one of my creations out on the open road. As the engine roars and the world blurs into streaks of light, I feel a profound sense of peace. My family taught me a painful but powerful lesson. Some people will only ever see the grease on your hands. They will never understand the art you are creating. Your job is not to clean your hands for them. It is to build something so powerful, so beautiful, and so true, that it leaves them behind in a cloud of dust. Thank you for listening to my story. It is a reminder that the most valuable work is often done in the quietest rooms, by the hands that aren't afraid to get dirty. Please, share your own story of a passion that was misunderstood, and how you proved its worth. Your story matters, and it deserves its own victory lap.